Hey, my fuel pump went out on me in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and this isn't a how-to video, but it might help some folks out if the same thing happens to you. This was a 2002 Chevy S10 with the extended cab, and when I went to get the next fuel, when I figured out it was a fuel pump, we went and they said this was the one they had in stock, so we picked it up for $156. Drove all the way back up to the top of the mountain, got there, pulled out the old fuel pump, and then went to put this one in, and it did not fit. Didn't even come close. I don't know if somebody had mixed them up in the boxes or not, or whatnot, because the item number does say it fits a Chevy S10 2002 pickup truck. But needless to say, we went back to return it, planning to go to another parts store because they kind of indicated it was the only one they had. But when we got back down there, they said, oh, we got one of these, the Delphi, and I bought it, and that was a perfect fit. And just let you know that. Now let me show you some other little things here. Okay, this is the original pump that we took out, and it has a rubber gasket. The cheap pump that we bought that didn't fit didn't come with this, but the Delphi did, so I've got this, and this had all these cracks in it. I'm glad I got the new one, but we're like $200 more. That's a lot, but maybe the Delphi is better. I know it's better. Now this is another thing. I don't know why, but I came to a foregone conclusion that it wasn't the pump. I immediately thought, I blamed the car not starting on the distributor cap and rotor, because I've had trouble with it in the past. And my son-in-law kept saying, maybe it's the fuel pump, maybe it's the fuel pump. And so we didn't have any starting fluid up there. We're up there in the mountains at a cabin. But he did have a can of, throttle body cleaner, and this will work. So we sprayed it in, and sure enough, it fired right up with that. So that told us right away it wasn't the distributor cap, but it was a fuel issue. It was more than likely the pump, because we knew it was the original pump. Now, when you go to lift the bed off the truck, you've got to, it's 15 millimeter. And you're going to need, this is a half-inch drive, and even with the half-inch drive, we didn't have a breaker bar or a cheater bar to add to it. It was on there pretty tight, but we got them off. There's eight screws, bolts holding that bed on. And what I'm showing you this for is, yes, you need this, but you also need a short one and another short extension. And then you need a 3/8, because there was, at least on this 2002, there was one bolt you couldn't get off unless you had 3/8, because this was too thick and it was hitting against another screw coming out, and you couldn't get in there. So you need a combination of half-inch and 3/8 inch drive components, I guess you could say, with that 2002, or you're going to be maybe not getting to where you want to be. All right, now let me show you the final thing on this. So anyways, what I'm saying is, I've decided, and I actually try to keep a can of this with me all the time, but if you break down and you got a can of this with you, it can tell you yay or nay what's wrong, if it's spark or if it's fuel, pretty quick with that. Here's a little mountain scenery for you. It literally wouldn't start after we got there and parked it. The next 2 days later, we're getting ready to leave. This is on a Sunday morning, and it's not going anyplace. So I'll give you a little rundown, and then we'll call it a day. We had these tools up there. Those 2x4s were cut to 40 inches in length. Both of them. We didn't have a big jack, but we had muscle power. So two other guys were up there by the name of Matthew and Frank. They lifted up the bed and me and Jason, we put the 2x4s underneath to hold it up, and you can see, you know, where the fuel pump is there. And then we proceeded. Now, like I said, they're 15mm bolts. There's 8 of them. You got to take 6 out. Then the rear 2, you just loosen up pretty good, and then you can tilt that up. If you're doing this by yourself, you're gonna, you know, it's gonna be a lot of work, and it's definitely doable. You also got to take off where the fuel filler line is. There's Jason. He's concentrating on this stuff, and you know, you got to take this off and disconnect it. And that's about how it all went down. And once we got it all back together, that thing fired right up. And I drove 8 hours to get home, and I haven't had any trouble with it since. You know, oh yeah, that's another thing. That's the old fuel pump, you know. I washed it off. Before I took that out, I scrubbed it with a brush and soapy water and cleaned up good. And even at that point, when we lifted that out, there was still a lot of mud and yuck, guck, whatever you want to call it, underneath the ring. And the ring, we got off using a hammer and screwdriver. Thanks for watching.